What's going on, y'all? It's Micah back here with another video. It's Micah Reacts TV, and we're gonna be reacting to story recap. This video is called "During the Pandemic, Man Traps Her for 8 Weeks so he can perform his sus acts." That's a very interesting title. That's a very interesting title. I'm not gonna waste any more time. Before we get into the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to your boy. It's a brand new channel. I'm trying to react a little bit more, so make sure you hit the subscribe button, join the family. We're trying to run our numbers up to 1,000, no cap. But I ain't gonna waste any more of your time. We're gonna get right into it, y'all. We're gonna get right into it. All right, let's see what's going on. Let's let go.
Sarah curls up in bed, recalling the horrid moment the man abducted.
What? Why is this not the beginning? So sorry, y'all. So sorry. Let's do it right. Play.
During the lockdown, an actor abducts a woman to be his audience, though this event enriches more than just his craft.
Okay.
Diego sings while doing chores, while in another room, Sarah curls up in bed, recalling the horrid moment the man
Yes, we got
abducted
Diego,
her. On
we got
that
Sarah.
day, he forced her to shower and took her phone. Upon realizing that she was trapped
Not
in the
forced her to
house,
shower.
the woman buckled in despair while Diego commanded his AI assistant to turn the lights off before he slept.
That's
One
cool.
morning, the actor offers Sarah some breakfast. However, she ignores him. He then works out and decides to bring a tray of food to Sarah. When he gets to her room, Diego finds a puddle, so he tells the woman that she can go to the bathroom if she asks. After some time, he visits again, this time bringing dessert. He watches from afar as Sarah snarfs the treat. Delighted, Diego leads her downstairs and returns her phone, though the SIM and battery were removed. He then shows her a painting of himself and posters from his previous acting jobs, introducing her to his career. As he does,
we ain't worried
however,
about you, my
Sarah
boy.
grabs an art piece and hits him over the head. She then runs to the door only to find it and the windows locked. Diego pulls her back
That
and
was not
scolds her,
smart.
reasoning that there's nothing to do outside because of the lockdown. Sarah demands to know why he took her, but instead of answering, the man explains that his ex-wife was unhappy with him because he does things differently. She
No
left
kidding.
and took their son to follow her own ambitions. However,
my
his
guy.
monologue is
You can't you can't like feel away when you're already doing weird things. You got her trapped in a house. I mean, I get it's the pandemic in this story, but I can't just lock her in a room. Like, or I can't just lock her in a house. Like, if she wants to leave, let her leave. I mean, but I get what he's doing. He said there's nothing to do outside. It's a pandemic, so it's kind of like a, you could do it, but I mean at the same time you can't. Like, it just reminds me of how crazy the pandemic was. Y'all remember how crazy that
apparently
was?
taken from the movie Kramer
Crazy.
vs. Kramer. Diego also
couldn't do
adds that she
nothing.
hit him with an art piece called A Menina. The confused woman calls him insane and he invites her to lunch. During the
Okay.
meal, she asks about his motives again. So the actor reveals that he needs her to be his audience for 8 weeks. Sarah haggles to be released earlier, and ultimately they agree on 3 weeks. The captive also demands to call her parents so they won't worry. He denies this and instead suggests she writes a letter for them. She comments that the police will catch him, but he believes otherwise since it's chaos out there and she's not from the city, making
Not
him her
chaos.
only shot at surviving the lockdown. With that, Diego asks what she does for a living and learns that she's a tax lawyer student. She then excuses herself for bed, asking him to confirm if she'll be let out, to which the man assures her that she will be in 3 weeks. He hovers around her as she prepares for bed. Before turning in, Sarah wonders if he took her by chance since that'll be worse than if he stalked her. Without admitting it, he just compares their situation to the movie The Collector, but she doesn't get the reference. She then asks if he has a good relationship with his mother since what he's doing to her isn't normal. He dodges this
Definitely not
question
normal.
and just closes the door. As she rests, Diego practices translating speeches when his father, Juanma, calls him. He comments that Diego looks worse each time they talk, so will send a friend over to help him with his basic needs. Diego argues that he has asthma, so he can't risk someone from outside visiting. Despite this, Juanma insists that his friend will visit tomorrow. The next morning, Diego prepares a nice
Ooh,
breakfast.
hold on. Let's look at what they got. They got orange juice. They got apples. It's a very clean breakfast. Got bananas all. You got tea. Got that little bit of toast. I don't know what this is, but okay. got a nice little. They doing a little clean eating over there. I like that. I like it.
For the woman to slam the door on him to escape. She attempts to climb over the balcony wall, but Jago manages to pull her.
Sis. Excuse me. I need you to do one thing, sis. I need you to be a little bit faster than that. What kind of climbing was? What the heck was that? That was so. Y'all gotta help me. That was trash. That was trash. She could have did a whole lot better than that. What, man? And if you're gonna escape, have a plan. Like, make sure you can do it quickly. Like, don't just try to escape and then you're not quick with it. Like, that was so slow. Look at this. Let's go back. That was mad
door
slow.
On him to escape.
Even her
she
running
attempts
is
to climb
slow.
over the balcony wall, but Jago manages to pull her
Trash.
down. He then
That's
tells her
trash.
that he's having a visitor today, and if she makes noise, he won't feed her for 3 days. As she
Dang.
eats in her room, Jago talks about a script regarding a king's harem with one of the women falling in love with a guard. The guard was imprisoned and the women were locked in a fortress surrounded by water called a casilda. After 2 weeks, the king opened the fortress and found everyone dead as they tried to eat each other. Realizing what he's hinting at, Sarah asks him to leave. Sometime later, his visitor, Yolanda, roleplays with Jago, playing a woman trying to seduce an employee. Before things can turn interesting, Sarah shouts in her room, begging to use the bathroom. With her presence revealed, the man opens the door and she rushes to the bathroom. Bewildered, Yolanda asks if Jago kidnapped Sarah, arguing that Juanma paid her to entertain him and would be furious
But my
if
whole thing is why? Like, why? Why is it why? Like, just why? Like, I feel like this could have went so much better in a whole different way. But it is sus. It's very sus. Why you have her trapped in a house for mad long? And then the funny thing is, he's saying for 3 weeks. The title says 8. So you went against your word? Like, what's going on here? Did she figure out that you're weird and you kept her a little bit longer? That's what it's seeming like as we're getting into the story. But I'm confused a little bit. But we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna stop pausing it.
finds out. This forces Jago to pay Yolanda extra to buy her silence before she leaves.
Not
Later
buy her
that day,
silence.
Sarah joins Jago at the living room and brazenly puts her shoes up on the coffee table.
Yeah,
This
you might as
bothers
well.
the actor, yet he tosses her some gum, not wanting to argue. As she chews, he comments that she acts like a teenager. This prompts her to exaggerate her childish ways, which he mimics, amused. Jago then recalls the end of a movie with Dustin Hoffman. Sarah knows this movie, so she wonders why it's always women who appear unclothed in films. Jago disagrees, but the woman points out that the film's leading lady got taken advantage of by her former friends. She wonders if that's what Jago was planning for her. He clarifies that the movie is about the impotence the character experiences, but Sarah argues that the protagonist barely feels anything throughout the movie while the character of his wife suffers. She then questions if he's experienced, since he didn't do it with Yolanda. She assumes he got scared of the other woman while her smaller stature doesn't bother him. With this, Sarah assumes he'll let her go if she gives him the experience. She then proceeds to dance provocatively for him, but he suddenly barks at her to leave, claiming that she doesn't understand him. He ushers her out the gate and closes the door. Suddenly finding herself half-dressed
At least you
in
got
the
out.
street at night, she begs Jago to let her back in. The man relents and takes her inside. That night, Jago listens by her door as she cries herself to sleep. After a few days, someone rings the doorbell, so Jago orders Sarah to be quiet before heading down with gloves and a mask. He meets with a courier who's a fan of his performances. She even invites him for a drink after the lockdown, but the
Come on,
actor
drink.
politely rejects
Try to go out on a
since
date,
he doesn't
alright.
hang out with fans. The package is apparently books about tax laws for Sarah. The woman delights in them, making Jago wonder what's interesting about it. The woman eagerly explains that tax laws are the core of a state's economy. The clearer the law, the more the people trust it and pay taxes, which improves government services that help the people, especially during pandemics. Jago acknowledges that she's helping people and she returns that his art encourages the masses. With this, she suggests that he become a content creator during the pandemic. but the man believes that content creators aren't artists like him. During dinner, Sarah asks Diego about his mother since he never
Not
talks
content
about her. The man
creators,
reveals
I like
that his mother left when he was 11 to join a religious group and never came back. She empathizes since her parents are separated too. The
Right.
next morning, the two do yoga and laundry together. At night, Sarah
on,
observes
yoga
how
and
Diego
laundry
barely
together?
looks at his phone. He explains that people these days are too attached to their phones,
They
recalling
are.
that he had to use
This
payphones
is
at
true.
night to call the women he liked. Sarah peers into what Diego's doing on his computer and he shows that he writes movie reviews. When asked if any friends call or chat with him, he says no unless it's for work. The woman then begs him to let her call her father using his phone, bargaining that she'll be next to him while she talks. After thinking about it, Diego allows her. Sarah then calls her father, claiming that she's using the neighbor's phone. However, she learns that her stepmother is pregnant. After ending the call, she
Hey,
comments that
yo,
she'll
what?
be 20 years older than her half-brother. With that said, he asks her to watch the film Barry Lyndon, but she thinks it's boring. Diego calls her ignorant, and she criticizes that he's a snob, similar to liars who claim to hate McDonald's food. Because of this, Diego later watches the film alone dressed in Victorian attire. One morning,
Why?
while Sarah enjoys
Yo,
her drink, Diego
what
decides
is
to
up with this
film
guy?
her, saying she looks poetic in the sun. She comments that this could be used as evidence against him, but he continues. Sarah then spills a bit of red drink on her clothes, then acts like a hostage, begging to have the theaters open and send a vaccine to Diego's place for her freedom. The lame joke prompts Diego to stop recording, yet when asked if her acting was good, he reluctantly agrees. In the afternoon,
Oh, I'm about to
Yolanda
say,
visits to
that's
check on him
wild.
and Sarah. The man lets her in, but only if she leaves her clothes and takes a shower to avoid the virus. Once done,
Oh, I'm about to
Yolanda
say,
learns
yo,
that
where's my
Sarah's
dude
treated
at?
well and is happy to
Listen, I for a second there, I forgot this is talking about a pandemic because I'm like, leaving your clothes at the door is wild. Like, that is very sus, but to take a shower and okay, get it out. Where should I get clothes from though? She just magically has clothes over there, like. But listen, y'all, my mind went somewhere else. I'm like, she just drops her clothes at the door and just walks in. Listen, I'm just saying.
since they're bored. Diego suggests they do a scene to pass the time, and Sarah agrees but insists on picking which movie. They spend the afternoon reenacting scenes from Dirty Dancing, but with Diego portraying the lead actress. That evening, while Diego cooks, Sarah thanks Yolanda for humoring her as Dirty Dancing was her mother's favorite movie. Seeing that the actor is cooking for them, Yolanda then comments how his father underestimates him. Sarah asks if Yolanda's paid to do it with Diego, and the woman explains that she is tasked to look after him and the house, but the actor often prefers to play out scenes rather than do it. With that, Sarah praises Yolanda's beauty, asking if she does these services often and if she has a relationship. Yolanda admits that she offers her services both to make ends meet and since she enjoys it. However, she thinks she missed her chance at any relationship. Finally, Yolanda offers to help the abducted woman leave Diego. After some thought, Sarah declines, believing that she can handle herself. As the hired woman leaves, she warns Diego that he'll fall in love with his captive. Diego denies this while Sarah thoughtfully says
Now,
she'll
sis
be
done
free
gave you a
soon.
way out, and
That
you said you're
night,
gonna do it on
Diego
your own.
finds Sarah singing a song she made,
hope you have a good
impressing him.
plan.
Afterwards, they watch one of Diego's earlier movies, which Sarah becomes invested in. The scene they're watching involves Diego's character getting seduced by another woman to keep him away from his love interest. After midnight, Sarah shares to her captor that her favorite movies are Blade Runner and Lawrence of Arabia, convincing him that she's a romantic. The woman then lingers, waiting if he'll start something now that they have a connection. However, he only bids the woman goodnight. Soon enough, the day before Sarah's release arrives, Diego finishes writing a script that morning and asks Sarah to listen to it, but she gets into the music from the radio. Because of this, he turns the radio off before reading a line from his script. However, the woman doesn't understand the meaning to his lines, so he offers to watch the never-ending story with her to help her understand. Instead, she reminds him that she is free tomorrow, so they should party. A video call from Juanma interrupts them. Diego races to the TV and orders Sarah to hide. The call starts and his father comments that Yolanda spoke well of his son, so he had to check. Instead of hiding, however, Sarah intentionally shows herself to Juanma. Diego scrambles to divert his father's attention away. but Sarah sits with him and greets Wanma. She converses with him casually, mentioning that she met his son due to a peculiar story, one Jaego stays quiet about. She then asks if they rescued his mother from the sect. This surprises Wanma since Jaego never talks about his mother. Given this, he assumes that the two of them must be quite close. Though his son is visibly uncomfortable with the topic, Wanma reveals that his wife practically forced him to stay with Jaego when she left. However, when Jaego was 16, his mother contacted Wanma, asking to be part of the family again. He was still angry at her and believed she was unstable, so he lied that a motorcycle accident claimed their son. Hearing this shocks Jaego, so Wanma promises that after the lockdown, they'll look for his mother. However, his betrayed son chooses to end the call. Seeing him hurt by this, Sarah apologizes for imposing. Instead of discussing this, he just comments that she'd make a great actor with what she did. He bargains that this was better since he'll feel worse if he lived all his life thinking his mother didn't want him. He then compares it to another actor who learned later in life that his supposed late mother was alive in a psych ward. Sarah thinks talking about this with his dad will do him well. Jaego reluctantly agrees, recalling how his father took him out of school when he wasn't adjusting well. Instead, they watched movies together and talked about films every day, paving the road to his acting career. Now, he feels that every day he doesn't rehearse is a day wasted. Sarah believes otherwise, as interacting with the world is already valuable. She shares that her parents made her focus on studies, but she still got herself a boyfriend. Not only did her parents hate him, but he also cheated on her with her best friend, making her lose both of them. This made her realize how much time she wasted not studying, so she moved to start a career and do everything she missed, allowing her to see how big the world actually is. Jaego absorbs this and apologizes for scaring her and stealing her phone. The two then spend their last night partying, making Jaego miss the sensations of being in public. Later, while Jaego sleeps, he dreams of a half-dressed Sarah leaving. This jostles him awake, so he checks on the woman and drapes a blanket on her. When she wakes up the next morning, she finds a sheet of paper beside her with a script. After a quiet breakfast, they reenact a scene from The Bodyguard where the woman who slept with her bodyguard faced the reality of what they did. However, as Jaego, who's in character, mentions his regret of getting involved with his client, Sarah takes it personally, thinking he's rejecting her. He gives her a choice to either live with it or fire him. Instead of answering, she questions if they can still make love. Jaego praises her acting, but Sarah questions if this is his way of saying he won't let her go. She accuses him of lying to her, so he locks her back into her room. When he takes her dinner to her room, he's horrified to find Sarah feeling sick, claiming that this is because he hit her earlier. Frantic, Jaego rushes out to get help but accidentally leaves the door open. Sarah uses this time to escape and climb out the gate, but finds Jaego waiting for her knowing she tried to escape. Sarah begs him to free her, but he refuses. As time passes, Sarah's locked in her room while Jaego goes about his day. They soon return to their usual activities of reenacting scenes, using a scene from The Last of the Mohicans. While the woman films his part,
I'm sorry. What? What kind of movie is this? What is the name? Did they say the name of this movie? What is up with this guy? You just trying to act out scenes from your so-called career that you used to have, and you have this girl trapped in your house for mad long, and like, what's the point? What's the purpose? Why? Like, what are you gaining from? I mean, I'm gonna let it play, but I'm confused.
Asking him to open the windows and doors. He tries again, but she still doesn't feel it, asking what else he'd do for her. He yells that he'll do anything, so she asks him to undress. He does so and states his lines while the woman cheers him on. At the climax of his performance, he runs out to the streets. Sarah follows him out, so Jaego realizes that she tricked him into letting her out. He asks if she's leaving him and walks inside without waiting for an answer. The abruptness prompts Sarah to follow him. There, she sees the man sulk on the chair, so she asks,
"Oh God, what the heck?" You had a chance to go. It's like when she tries to escape, she can't escape. But the moments that she literally has the opportunity to go, you go back into the house, sis. I hope you stay there. I hope you stay there. Because what the heck?
His AI assistant to record her saying that he's a great actor who isn't crazy and is worthy of love. With that, she takes the menina with her and walks out, free at last. However, as she walks further, she gets an odd feeling. Inside the house, Jago heads up the highest point of his home and opens the window just as Sarah turns to run back. She shouts for him to climb down and he complies. The man rushes down in a suit. She asks if he was going to jump, but he says he was just hoping she'd come back since he loves her. However, Sarah thinks his affection is just another movie role to him. This surprises him, more so when Sarah declares that she'll go home, call her parents, take a shower, get some privacy, and come back. With that, the woman walks away, but not before giving the actor an applause, so the man bows in appreciation to his audience. Sarah then walks home, feeling a pang of bitterness for leaving even if just for a bit.
Subscribe to watch more videos like
What? What? That was the most bipolar. You left. Now you feel bad for leaving. You can try to come back because you. That just made my whole brain hurt. That what? Why? Yo, why? Why is that a movie? Why? What was the point of it? Just so he can profess his love to her, and even in that, it's like you don't know if he's acting. This whole thing was sus. This whole thing was sus. I'm done.